Okay, we are going to write a program to print all the leaders in the array. An element is a leader if it is greater than all the elements to its right side, and the rightmost element is always a leader. So if we have 16, 17, 4, 3, 5, and 2, then in this example, their leaders are 2, 5, and 17. So we'll want to print those. And I think that I will start out just at the end, since the last element is always a leader, and since we need to keep track of the rightmost elements being larger, it makes sense to start at the end. And we can do this in O of n time because we can do it just walking through the array one time. So let's go ahead and write a little code. Got public, we're going to just print to the console. Public void find leaders. It's going to take an array of ints. Okay. So first we'll do an initial test just to make sure that the array is not null. Array.length is equal to 0. Then we'll throw an exception with some sort of message like array cannot be null or something. Else we'll go into our program and we're going to need to store the last leader that we saw so that we can compare it to any new potential leaders. So we've got last leader. We can just set it to the last element of the array. That's not what I do. Hold on one sec. Array dot length -1. Okay. And then we just do a for loop since we know the size of our array. And I is equal int I is equal to, it's going to be equal to array dot length -1. We're going to go I is greater than or equal to 0, and it's an I minus. Okay, and what we're going to do is just do a simple test. If array I is greater than last leader, then we know we have a new last leader. So last leader equals array I, and we want to print it to the console. And put a little space in between so it prints nicely. Okay. And we'll end that for loop. We do need to add one little console right at the top. Otherwise, it's not going to catch this very first element. Leader plus a little space. Okay. And we can actually start this at we can keep it there. That's totally fine. All right. So let's do a little walkthrough. We have I and we have last leader. Okay. We go into our program, and if array.length is equal to 0, it's not, so we don't throw that exception. We go into the else. Last leader is equal to array at array.length minus 1, which is at 2. And then we have to console write, so we'll put our output down here. And we're going to do last leader and then a space. Okay, we go into our loop if int I equals array dot int I equals array dot length minus 1. So I is going to be here, and that is 0, 5. Okay, and we're going to go until we're greater than or equal to 0. If array at I, which is 2, is greater than last leader, which is also 2, so it will not go into this. We'll go back, I minus minus. I is now 4. 4 is greater than or equal to 0. So we go in and we say, is array at I is 5 greater than 2? It is. So we know we have a new last leader, and we're going to output that. And then we go back through I minus minus. We've got 3. So if array at 3, which is the number 3, is greater than last leader, which is 5, it's not. So then we go through I minus minus. Array is our I is now 2. 2 is greater than 0. And then we're looking at array at I, so that's 4. Is 4 greater than last leader, which is 5? It's not. So we go through I minus minus, and 1 is still greater than 0. So we go in, if array at 1, which is 17, is greater than our last leader, which it is, then we have a new last leader, and we're going to output that to the console. And then we go through one last time here, I minus minus, it's 0. And if array at I, which is 16, is greater than our last leader of 17, and it's not. So we don't go into our if statement, I minus minus 1 last time, it goes, and negative 1 is not greater than or equal to 0. So we go out of our for loop, and our output was 2, 5, and 17, which is what we were looking for.